Welcome back to Kailash Chronicles with Mohanji. This is another episode where we're bringing past participants to you about their experiences so they share their perspective and how they viewed Kailash, how the experiences of Kailash shape how we can learn about Kailash because Kailash is an enigma that we don't really know what happens there. So these stories enlighten and give us a new view of looking at this amazing place. So today we have an amazing guest. Her name is Meenakshi Srinath. She's from Bangalore. I'm sorry, you're in
No,
Pune.
I'm a,
I don't know why I said Bangalore because you're from Pune. And she has been connected to Mohanji since 2017. And she's a very quiet one. I so this is the reason why I chose her somehow. I was drawn to Meenakshi to call her, let's do this interview because something about her is special and I wanted everybody to hear it. So, Minakshi, I know you've been connected to Mohanji since 2017, and I remember briefly that you wrote that you were drawn to Kailash because you read The Inner Kora by Mohanji. If you can share what drew you to Kailash, what made you want to do this because Kailash just it's a calling that comes to people and it comes unexpectedly. I speak to many people about Kailash. It's my love. I love Kailash. So this feeling that comes is unexpected. Did that happen to you as well? Can you share your thoughts about Mohanji, Kailash, and your journey?
yes, sure. Thank you so much, Bhavani, for having me here. Thanks for the opportunity. Yes, exactly like you said, Kailash is always there, right? So we read about it. Just like the Amarnath Yatra, we also know there's a Kailash Yatra. But
Yeah.
until 2016, 2017, I don't think it ever crossed my mind that I would like to go to Kailash or, do a parikrama. For a very simple reason, I am somebody who's not very physically active. And you think
Mhm.
of Kailash, you think of Mansarovar, the first thing that comes to your mind is you have to be physically very, very active, right? So that
That's
never really crossed my mind. I knew, okay, theek hai. The devotion is there in the heart. You connect to Lord Shiva, and that's all there is to it, right? Um, Thanks to Anant and Rakshita, I heard about Mohanji, and I'm grateful to all the masters that I could connect with Mohanji in 2017. And that's when I read Inner Kora by Mohanji, and the stories were phenomenal, and all of them were excellent story writers because you actually visualize all of it. I remember the most vivid being, I think, Chai's testimonial and Hanumatananda's. Beautiful. And even before I reached halfway, to the book, there was this deep desire that I would really like to do it. And the most encouraging part of it was, physical fitness, mental fitness, all of that, set it aside. You just need an intention and Shiva's grace. So, which left the door open. Ki, yes, this is very much doable. Why not give it a thought at least? If not, if it happens, happens, great. So that's all there was to it. And when you start reading something like that, more such information starts coming to you. So from all unexpected quarters, you switch on TV, on YouTube, suddenly there's a Kailash video that pops up, somebody speaking about Mansarovar and all of that. So I knew for a fact these are all signs, and that desire definitely arose. So I remember this 2018, and the Kailash Yatra was being announced for 2019. So the desire was that August 2019, yes. So 2018, I remember for New Year's, I was with friends. I was in Dhaka, and while partying very, very hard.
Bangladesh, Dhaka.
Yes, yes. So we were
Ah,
there
okay.
with
Hmm.
with a friend at at their place, and this was a New Year's party. I had a ligament tear in my ankle. I just twisted my ankle. It was a bad ligament tear. Even then, I didn't think about anything else. I was like, okay, fine, this is just a sprain. It'll be okay. So it was swollen crazily. When I came back to India, I got to know that, it's a ligament tear. It was all plastered, and a bed rest was advised for 3 months. So
Wow.
I was in the corporate back then. So this was a completely work from home zone. And that's when it hit very, very hard. Okay, August is an upcoming trip. But even then, I was like, all right, there is time for this. The doctor very seriously advised there's absolutely no travel that's recommended. Forget a difficult terrain. I didn't even ask him about a Mansarovar trip. He just said, no travel, period. Work from home strictly. And I knew,
And
okay,
what month was this, Meenakshi?
this was Feb 2019. Yeah, so
Mhm.
Jan to March, my leg was plastered. And but I didn't give up. Somewhere deep down, I knew magic is very much possible, miracle is possible. I kept that intention. I kept the Om Namah Shivaya chant going. That one thing is something that I held on to very dearly. If it's meant to be, it'll happen. If it's not, it's fine. But then there was a very deep desire that if I do not do it this year, I don't know when. I don't know why that thought crossed. My husband also was very, very keen, though he's not a very spiritual person, but he had a very strong pull towards Mansarovar. And both of us, like, this year, no matter what, we should try and do this year, because I don't know why. We didn't have
Because
any, like,
that year
yeah,
Mohanji was
2020.
doing a special yagna that year. It
Oh, is
pulled a
it?
lot of people. Yes, he did the special puja in, yeah, in the whole Mansarovar lake, right? You went and you were part of that whole thing. I've never
Yes,
experienced that. So that was
it
very
was.
unique that year. He did
Yes,
this
it was
whole
ancestral Homa.
Gandhera lineage
Yeah.
cleansing.
Yes, yes. So now in hindsight, I realize, okay, after 2019, things changed, right? There was so much of a transformation happening everywhere. So yeah, God's grace, that was there. Um, so remember in so that year, April, there was a meetup at Mohanji's place, and I'd gone there for some Amukhe work, some advice that was required for the website work. So that's when I told him that this is a desire, but this is my leg condition. So he just dismissed it. And he said, yeah, yeah, come, come. Just the casual way that he speaks in. That was
Okay.
very encouraging. But I reiterated, I was like, Mohanji, the doctors advised me this. And my leg, actually, when I went to meet him also, he saw the leg. And he told Preeti Di if you can just do Maitri for her, because my leg was swollen even back then. I couldn't even sit down on the floor.
Mhm.
So he said, yeah, yeah, come, come, nothing will happen, come. I was like, okay, theek hai. That's all that I needed, just a go ahead from the master, and I knew it's taken care of. So from April 2019, something deep within changed. I knew no matter what the doctors say, I know it is sorted. The month after that, I was to meet Devi Amma. So my leg was still in plasters, and Devi Amma's house is on the first floor. So I was like, I don't know how am I going to climb, but then she very gently, very kindly opened the door to the house, and actually could walk in through the internal stairs. And she was
Wow.
the sweetest being that she is, right? I told her about the yatra. I told her this is the intention, and this is what Mohanji said, please bless me. I didn't ask her, should I, shouldn't I, nothing, because I knew there's a go ahead from
Did he
him.
tell you to go? Did he tell you to go see her, or you just felt the
No, he didn't.
need?
Yeah,
Or
I just felt it.
uh,
Yeah, yeah. There's just this deep pull that I want to meet her, and I got an appointment also. So I took that as a good sign, and I was like, all right.
that's
And
why I confused you for Bangalore because I know Devi Amma is in Bangalore, so I remember that.
yes, back then I was in Bangalore. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So she straight away said that, Shiva will hold your hands and he will walk through the parikrama. That's all she said. And she gave me a beautiful hug and she said, everything will be okay. She didn't say your leg will heal, this will happen. None of that, just a simple one liner, but a very powerful one. I remember the way she looked into my eyes and she said, Shiva will hold your hands and walk through the parikrama. That's
That
all.
look is powerful, when she looks into your
Yes.
eyes, some reassurance comes to you. Okay, things will be okay. Like
Yes.
Mohanji's casual, chalo chalo, it's okay. And then her way of
Yes.
doing it is very different. It's a powerful, gentle look. I know.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So it was a double affirmation, right? So nothing else was required. So I started with the preparation and the fact that, physical fitness is important. That point of view completely was erased from my consciousness. I knew that, okay, there's a master who's going to carry me. I also read stories wherein he said, even if you go up to Mansarovar, the
Yeah.
parikrama is complete. I know a lot of people who say, I want to walk through the entire parikrama. I do not want to take a pony. I had no such thing. I was like, I'm okay whichever ways, as long as I complete it. Even if
Mhm.
that doesn't happen, even if I'm at Mansarovar sitting and doing my Kriya and I'm able to view Kailash, I'm the happiest soul. That's it. So I kept my expectations to a bare minimum. All the prep started, all of that happened. And it was beautiful. Every step of the way, the group was beautiful. Mohanji's energy was, of course, there. It was very nice. Of course, it comes with its pros and cons, right? Challenges are always there, but one day at a time, it was all okay. In fact, I didn't even need any extra medication for the lack of oxygen. My body adapted beautifully. Yeah, I was,
Wow.
yeah, no headaches, nothing, no dizziness, nothing of that sort, all of that. The experience at Mansarovar is unforgettable. It's
Can
so
you share
beautiful.
that?
Yes, something just about the air. So the day you reach Mansarovar, so you are still sitting in a bus, you can't really get down, and they tell you you can just go around the bus, and that's all there is. So it was evening time. So tomorrow morning we will revisit the place. And just that sight or just that glimpse of Mansarovar was so beautiful, so calming. It was amazing. And
How
even
was
then
the
it was,
dipping experience? The you were at that time in 2019, I remember the dipping was not allowed. You guys must have
yeah,
taken the bucket dips, right? How was that
yes,
experience for you?
it was equally beautiful. Thanks to
Mhm.
Rajesh Kamath, he, advised everybody to start getting used to a cold water bath. Now, I am somebody who loves hot water like how? Like, so much so that there's steam coming out of the doors when I, exit the bathroom, that much. So the prep towards the cold water itself, I think, was very, very meditative. Yeah, but even then the thought, how am I going to pour this on my head? That never really occurred. So I was
Wow.
like, okay, works, doesn't work, doesn't work. It's fine. I'll just sprinkle some and I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Complete
So
surrender mode, complete surrender. That's what it that's what it looks like. You had given up. Okay, whatever happens, happens. Whatever doesn't happen, I'm okay with it. You know, it's very rare, rare way of that's the
yeah,
best way of approaching Kailash, I think. That's the
yeah,
only way
that
we should
and
approach Kailash.
yeah, also the fact that Mohanji was around, right? So for me, that was the biggest
Yeah.
blessing. So I was just happy that I'm walking around, like I can see him right in front of me, walking,
Aw.
chatting, just tapping you on your shoulders. And I was in Zen mode. Absolutely. So the first time we got down at Mansarovar, it was a little cloudy. I really couldn't see Kailash per se, but Mohanji kept pointing out, that's Kailash, that's the direction of Kailash. So we just, you request for blessings, you pray, and all of that. At the Mansarovar, like you were saying, the yagyas were happening. All the ancestral, the ones for your lineage, they were all so powerful, so powerful. You could just feel it. Like, they say thoughtless state. Actually, you could
Yeah. Yeah.
experience that. You just then and there, and you just. I would attribute all of that to Mohanji. Honestly, you are in that zone in his auric field, and it's taken care of. You don't really need
Mm.
to put in an extra effort. You just connect to him, like he says. I think
Yeah.
what even Baba said, right? In Kali Yuga, the best thing is just remembrance.
Remembrance. Yeah.
Yeah, so you just plug into his auric field and you're taken care of, right? Nothing else is required. That's all.
Absolutely.
So the glimpse of Kailash. So that day it was a very cloudy day, and we had this gentleman. I forget his name. He'd done his PhD on Ravana. So
Hmm.
he sang that entire shloka. What's that shloka? Composed by
Shiva Tandava
Yes,
Stotra.
Yatnandava. Yes, yes. So he started singing, and all of us had goosebumps. Lankeshwar Maharaj. Yes,
Ah,
Lankeshwar.
yes, I remember.
Yeah, so when we met him, we were fascinated that there's a gentleman who's done PhD on Ravana, and we kept hearing stories from him, and it was amazing. He started singing the Shiv Tandava Stotram. By the time he finished, it was magical, Bhavani. All the clouds parted.
I'm
We
getting
had
goosebumps.
we had a clear view of Kailash when the Aarti was happening. It was so amazing, so amazing. So all the homas and all those were completed. And then from the book, I remembered about the spiritual beings who visit, right?
Mhm.
And as for the guidelines, they say don't try and communicate with them. They're very powerful beings. So, we were given the months for the camp that we're staying at. Do not, at nights, if you're awake, preferably do not cross this, don't try. Because we are in a 3D world, we tend to ask about our jobs, our careers. Will I get a new job? Will I get a new partner? All of that. They're highly evolved beings. So, do not do
Yeah.
all of that preferably. So the desire was there. If I get to see, that would be amazing. So me and my husband had decided 2:45 a.m. we'll wake up and we'll see if we are able to see something. But for some odd reason, there was certain turn of events that happened that night. A lot of healing was happening for everybody. And because of the ancestral homas that happened, a lot of people are having a lot of releases. So let's just leave
Mhm.
it at that. So me and a couple of us who are in my, tent, we just went out for a loo break. And when we were just returning, I remember looking at the sky and we could just see like if there was a meteor shower, right? How does it look?
Wow.
So they were like shooting stars. The only difference being I could see these stars are shooting down. They are touching the surface of the lake, Mansarovar Lake,
Mhm.
and shooting
Mhm.
back up.
Wow. See,
And I feel
that side is amazing. I think it's a very rare event. Not everybody has the privilege to see that. It's a If you saw it, it must be Mohanji's blessings and Kailash's blessings.
we
Because
were 4 or 5 of us together.
yesterday I spoke to someone, they said very few people are allowed, given this privy of having those visions of the beings that are coming from different realms and taking a dip in Mansarovar. It's not everybody's vision. Not everybody has that
I'm,
blessing.
I'm grateful and all thanks to Mohanji, I was blessed with that. So the ladies were there with me. They said, let's not stare at them for too long because we don't want to, establish contact unnecessarily. We're like, okay, but that fear didn't, there's no fear in the heart. I was like, I knew there's no way they can harm us. And then when I just got up a little more, I just had to, because I wasn't as tall as the railing of that camp, I just was perched on my heels and I was trying to look over. It was as if thousands of lamps were lit on Mansarovar.
Wow. I mean,
And on a practical front, there's no way somebody would have lit diyas at 3 a.m. in the night and, they were floating there. No. These had to be the spiritual beings who were taking a dip. And even with open eyes, as I speak to you, I can actually see that visual right in front of my eyes. And it was so amazing. The heart was, it was so full of joy and happiness and name it. We do affirmations for gratitude and this and that. Nothing
just
was required.
gratitude. Nothing was required.
It was just that sight which was so fulfilling. And there was immense love for Mohanji at that point in time for making this happen. Even till then, I was fully prepared with my leg, with my ankle. I've come till here. This is what I've been blessed with. All the homas are complete. I've done my Kriya at Mansarovar. I'm the happiest soul. I'm done. Tomorrow, the next day, you're supposed to leave for the parikrama. So whatever happens, happens. That thought was like, right now, my soul is appeased. I'm so happy. As I went back into the camp, I realized I never woke up my husband. I'd completely forgotten that part of it. Because I couldn't sleep that night. I was so happy and so excited. That joy, right? So it was
Ah,
just amazing. Like, even with I'm closing my eyes, I can still see that. I was like, I wished I stayed out a little bit
well,
longer, would have been so amazing.
most of us can't sleep because we are dead tired from hypoxia and illness, but you were awake because of a different reason. You were full of joy and love, and that must be a different level of excitement. I can totally
Yes,
picture you
absolutely.
doing that. So it's amazing. It's a huge blessing, I think.
Yes, yes. So that was the Mansarovar experience. And next day was the parikrama, the first day of the parikrama. So as you would have heard, right, we go to the Yamdwar, take a picture of
Yeah.
yourself, you take those three, this thing, and you just pray. And you do not look back and you walk forward. So it's a huge queue. And I was sure I'm taking a pony. There's no two ways that I'm walking it. So even the ones who are walking, we were advised to, have a pony just in case, because if you're not able to walk, you will not have access to a pony later. So it's better
Yeah.
to, yeah, book one, right? So I had an amazing Sherpa. He was the most colorfully and beautifully dressed Sherpa. His name was Kimchi. And yeah, the pony with him, the name was Thautolo. Okay, so very, very cute.
You remember the names? That's amazing.
I do, because I was so happy to meet them. They're like so full of a very, very young Sherpa, so full of joy and bubbling with energy, excited for the parikrama and all of that. And I'd heard a lot of stories where Sherpas just, leave you midway, they carry your food and all of that. So the minute I met him, I told him, look, I'm a diabetic and this has all my food supplies. I request you to stay with me. Do not walk ahead anywhere. Or if
Mhm.
you feel the need to, walk ahead, just ensure that I have stuff with me, at least some sweets with me. And I kept telling him, I'm diabetic, low sugar, because the language again is a problem. So I tried to
Mhm.
communicate with him, low sugar, diabetes, sweet. That's it. Water, pani. That's it. Right. And it started. And I think on the first day, though me and my husband were together, and I read testimonies where they say, you are in a group, but you're still alone. And I
Yeah.
experienced it those 3 days. I actually, during the entire parikrama, I met him only twice. That's it. So you're like, bye bye, chalo me. He started walking. He was sure he wants to walk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We take this journey in the 90, sometimes it's 80, 90. The year you went, it was over 100 people. And I can imagine no one actually saw each other on the parikrama. It must have been an individual journey. It is an individual journey.
It
And
is. It is.
actually, one thing I wanted to ask you, I remember reading it in your blog. You said that Kimchi kept on pointing out there's Kailash, but you were not able to see the view of
Yeah.
Kailash. How is
Yeah.
that possible? I don't understand that. Can you please?
I I don't know, because even the people around me who were on pony, they could actually see the Kailash.
Right, but it's there. It's visible, right?
Exactly, right? It's there. And I have this issue, like even when there are birds around and so people are pointing to birds, even on a day-to-day basis, I'm saying, right? So my friends can see birds and I can't see them. I say it's right there on that branch I cannot see. And Kailash is huge. And he got frustrated, not Kimchi, the other one, who's the one who's handling the pony, right? So he
Mm,
kept telling me, and then he gave up midway because everybody is excited when they see Kailash for the first time. So they are also excited to show it to us, right? But throughout, I was just, honestly, I was chanting Om Namah Shivaya. That's all. Nothing else. Nothing else. And I was enjoying the views thoroughly, both sides. Day one is lush greenery, so stunning, so
that's the
beautiful.
best day. That's the best view
Yes.
of the Kailash, right? Afterwards,
Yes.
it's like,
Yeah, yes, yeah. The terrain is very, very rocky, very, very rough. Yeah. So that was that, and then throughout, so Kimchi was there with me throughout. Not once did he let go of me. He was right there. Then when we were just approaching the camp, we got off at the camp, which I think I mentioned in the blog also. And the Sherpa, the one who's frustrated, told me, "See now, Kailash, not face. Now you see," and it is there. There's no way you can't see it. It's there. That's the whole view, and you can actually you feel like you can touch it. Just a few steps you can.
yeah,
You can't really touch, but that's how it feels. So
yeah.
till then, the entire way you hear so much about unconditional love and all of that, right? I used to always think, what is unconditional love? How does it really feel? When I saw Kailash, even the thought that this is Kailash vanished. It was there's just a structure in front of you, and there was a lump in my throat, and the heart just expanded. All those jargons that you hear, I experienced. I got off, he helped me get off. And I forgot about my feet, everything, all the tiredness, the hunger, the thirst, all of it disappeared. And I did like a full namaskar prostration. There was no other way. It was just a complete surrender. That's all there is to it. And I still remember the thought that, okay, this is unconditional love. This is how it feels. It was pure, absolutely pure. Day one, day two, day three, nothing mattered. Then and there, I was there 100%. And the fact that day one is successfully completed. That's all. Because we were hearing stories. Some
That
folks
is,
threw off,
that is,
yeah, the
that's,
rider. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. We'd heard some of them who were thrown off at Yamdwar and all the stories we were hearing along the way. So I'm so grateful to my pony that it safely carried me till here.
well, they were your Shiva, I feel. They were the
100%.
the hand that Devi Amma spoke about. Because it's a very rare thing, the pony importer, the hand, the
They're all,
pony hand,
yeah.
they all together, it's very rare thing, you know? They always walk ahead. You don't know where they are. So it's definitely a blessing, Meenakshi. I think I'm getting just that side of that, what you spoke of, gives me that emotional expansion in my heart because I can imagine that moment.
Yeah. And I think of the 3 days, that's the best view of Kailash also. Yeah. In
Yeah.
all its grandeur, like you see Mount Kailash. Yeah. Yeah. It was amazing.
And
So
that's the
that's,
toughest day as well. It's the toughest day for the pilgrims as well because it's you're sleeping right under him. He's right there. You're sleeping one night in that whole frequency. So how was that experience? Did you feel anything different sleeping in that whole frequency of Kailash?
yeah.
Because
For
I
me, day two. Yeah. Yes, please go ahead.
No, I cannot sleep. When I'm in that zone, I cannot sleep. And it's just something is there. It's like some presence is felt all the time. Just I'm not able to sleep properly. So, please share your thoughts on that.
Yeah. For me, it was the other way around. I think I slept like a baby.
Ah,
I just crashed. So evening we went down for a supper. Yeah, I just took a walk. I bowed down again and then back. And I had the best sleep of my life. I think I slept so well.
wow.
And for me, day two was the toughest day. I think of all the three and my entire life, if I had to put it, I think day two was the toughest. Yeah. So day
But
one, yeah.
you, I mean, from the journey you've explained from Yamdwar to North Face, you had an amazing grace. And then even the second day, yes, it was tough, but I think it couldn't have been that bad from what I know. And I want you to share that with everybody because I think you experienced a great miracle there, and I
Yes.
want you to share that.
Yes. Yeah. So day two. started off on a very rough note. So all the
Mm.
Sherpas were already inside the lodging and they were all shouting out everybody saying, we need to do this quickly, need to do this quickly. So I remember not having a full breakfast because he was hurrying me. He was sweet. Not that he was rude to me, but then he's like, we need to move fast, move fast, move fast. Okay, because the weather was also changing. So a lot of them were also worried that we need to get through the day. So I couldn't complete my breakfast. And for me, the biggest block is if I'm not eating well, my sugars are going to hit low very quickly. And that's a mind
Mm.
block I have. I forgot to take my water bottle. So I technically had no supplies other than the dry fruits that I was carrying in my small backpack. That's all. I couldn't meet Srinath. I couldn't say bye to him. So I was feeling a little, you just want to say bye before you leave for the day. And
Yeah.
then we couldn't meet at all. So that was there. Then as it started, that was the most difficult day because it was almost a 90-degree incline. And it was it was a stark contrast to day one because the terrain was very rocky. So you see these
Yeah.
huge rock boulders on the way, like huge ones. And you know that you're completely, I don't know, mercy of Shiva or no, you're at the mercy of the pony and the Sherpa for sure. You know, it misses
Yeah.
one step and that's all. Yeah, you are at Shiva's abode and that's your last breath. That's all there is to it. And I don't think I would have chanted Om Namah Shivaya much more rigorously in my life ever. So there's no split second that any thought is entering your head. It's just like you don't realize that you value your life so much, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. I love what you wrote that any turn can, pull you down to the Kailash mountain.
Yeah,
You're tumbling down. It is a feeling like that because even the pony is not stable and you feel like you're just
exactly.
gonna fall off any moment. It's not a
Yeah,
pleasant journey either on foot or on the pony. I think
yeah,
walking is might be easier in my opinion. If
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, comparatively. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I have a pre-existing lower back condition. So many years
Uh-huh.
back, I had a hairline crack in my tailbone. Okay, so that
Mm.
also got triggered and my leg was anyway killing me. So all sorts of thoughts, why am I doing this? Why did I have to do this? I could have chanted Om Namah Shivaya at home. I could have connected to Mohanji at home. Why do I have to do this? All of that. But still, surprisingly, there was no fear. No fear. It was still, like you said, that acceptance. Whatever happens, happens. It's fine. Right now, I'm very satisfied. So no regrets in my life. I'm very happy. That's all. That's all there is to it. Right. And we somehow reached Dolmala Pass. And that was such a relief. It was amazing. So everybody's clicking pictures, all of that. I didn't click a single picture. I was happy to just get off the pony and sit down on a rock. My back was killing, my feet were killing me. Okay. And
The site itself is beautiful. Who wants to
it's,
pick up the camera? It's such a beautiful, amazing site, and you feel amazing you made it that far.
yeah.
You,
And now, believe it or not, my phone is actually on a switched off mode because I told everybody, I know everybody's clicking pictures. So I don't
yeah.
need to click any more pictures. I can always borrow from people. So happily, my phone was switched off. It was in my bag. And Gaurikund, the view of Gaurikund is so amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think
Nothing
anybody can
compares you
actually.
to that site. The whole Dolmala Pass, Gaurikund, it's like an amazing, out of the earthly experience
Yeah.
type of place.
So you really feel this is not within Earth. This is somewhere
Yeah.
else completely. It's amazing. And I don't think any artist can actually draw that on a canvas. It was so stunning and so beautiful.
Mm.
So while you're just in that Zen mode, the next shocker came in, where Kimchi told me that we are going to release the pony. I said, what do you mean release the pony? We have the pony for 3 days. He said,
Yeah.
no, we need to, it's a very steep climb down. So we can't take the pony because it'll not be able to take your weight. So we will release it. We'll meet it downstream. So like, how do I walk down? He's like, yes, you have to walk down. I think there is no way because see, as we know, climbing is one thing, but climbing a steep slope down is much more difficult.
Difficult.
So while people are standing there and debating who will go down to Gaurikund, how will they climb back, how much water to bring, all those discussions were happening around. My immediate fear was, how am I going to climb down this mountain? What if I never get down Dolmala Pass? How on earth am I going to climb this down?
It's
That's what.
not an easy journey. Yeah, I've done it. I don't even have leg issues, but that is a tough walk. So I could imagine if your thoughts on how will you make it down then.
Yeah, so
I
with
can't
Gaurikund, I
wait.
know a lot of people from the group were there. I knew that the holy water will make its way to me. I know I will receive it. So I didn't even delegate it to anybody. I knew, okay, I will receive it for sure. I just bowed down to Ma Parvati, prayed, saying, it's not possible for me to come down. Kindly accept my prayers. Help me get off Donmala Pass. That was the only prayer. And I
Mhm.
started walking down. I cannot tell you how difficult that was. I don't think any amount of vocabulary can do justice to that. It was so difficult because at every my ankle literally, because there were places where you climbing down, and it's very steep this thing. So you need to, actually anchor your feet, one foot
Yeah,
in one space and another to just get a holding and just to get down, you know.
yeah.
And in the midst of all this, I had run out of my snacks. I anyway didn't have water bottle. I had not had proper food, but the beauty of that entire day was just when I knew I'm famished, somebody would walk past and voluntarily offer me a sip of water or a candy. I
Wow.
remember even Sulakhe Maharaj was there with us during that trip. So in one space, he came and he sat next to me. He offered me water. He told me, "You're
Mhm.
going to be okay, don't worry." Because by then I actually started crying. I was like physically, and I'm somebody who is not, who doesn't display that sort of emotion in public ever. Crying
Mhm.
in public is something which is unimaginable for me. So I have that thing about me. And at one point, I'm actually visibly crying, because the pain was unbearable. I'm a Sherpa and was very, at that time, I didn't remember Devi Ma's words. Actually, honestly, I didn't, because every step was, all my focus was on. Kimchi actually held on to both my hands. Even the small backpack I was carrying, it was hardly not more than 1.5 kgs. He took on even that. In addition to his own stuff, he said, "You just walk, you walk freely." And he said, "I will
Mhm.
not leave you. I'm holding on to your hands. I will get you down. Just don't worry." So till then, I
Mhm.
had not met my husband. So at one point where I told him I cannot anymore, I just sat down on a slab of ice. I still remember it was ice. I sat down like a small baby and I said, "I am not walking. I'm done. I don't know how I'm going to get off from here." I just heard my husband's voice from behind. It was out of nowhere.
Wow.
Because I'd actually thought the pace at which I was walking, I was sure he would have already climbed down and gone much, much ahead. There was no way he was somewhere behind me. I
Mhm.
heard him, and he had two fresh bottles. He had bottles of two, this fresh stream water he was carrying, and a small kid with him. The kid had apparently gone down to Gaurikund and, fetched water for him proactively. He had not met that kid before. He appeared right then at Gaurikund. He said, "I'll get you water," and he got him water. There is different story and miracle altogether. And he gave me water. He gave me candies. He had some extra stuff. He fed me forcefully. And he said, "Chalo, no, I'm going, You're slowing me down, so I'm going." That's all he said. And I was like, "What? I mean, can you not wait for me?" He's like, "No, no, no, Kimchi is there. He's a better guide. I'm going ahead. That's fine." And that's all. Then started walking. I was feeling refreshed, much better. Started walking. Again came another passing, which was much more steeper than the earlier one. Okay, so as we were getting down, and that's actually the power of Shiva and the miracle that I experienced, At one point, my right ankle was just, perched into one crevice, and I just heard a cut, and I was like, "God." You hear all sorts of stories, right? There's hypoxia, you have to be airlifted. It's only a split second, okay? That crackle is just one split second, but the mind starts cooking so many stories. I'm visualizing, oh my God,
I can
everybody in the
visualize it.
family. Yeah, everybody advised me against it. People are going to, they're like, "You went against a doctor's advice. You've done this to yourself. Who's going to airlift me? How long is the helicopter going to reach? How long are they going to take to reach?" All sorts of stupid questions. And I
It's
told Kimchi,
normal questions, Meenakshi. Every human would have those thoughts because it's normal to hear a crack. You already having a leg issue. It's those are normal thoughts. But the miracle that unfolds is more amazing than that.
yes. So I told Kimchi, "And you take a break," and there was no space to actually sit there. But poor thing, he just found me some rock. He, cleaned it up for me. He was like, "Okay, sit." I took off. I told him I need to check my leg. I can't really walk like this. If nothing, I need to pad it up and I need to start walking. I took off my shoes. I took off my socks. I looked at it. Believe it or not, there was no swelling over there. When I finished day one, that entire ankle was red. you
Wow.
know. When I left
Wow.
that morning also, I applied some extra move and all of that, extra bandage, all of that. There was no swelling, no redness. It was as if nothing had ever happened. And Kimchi was in shock. He was like, Kya hua? Kya hua? Kuch nahi hua. So, what happened? Nothing really happened. And I started rotating my ankle. For a second I felt, okay, was the injury on my left ankle or my right ankle? I was at that stage. And I checked both my feet and both my ankle were okay.
Healed by
And
Shiva, healed by Shiva and his grace.
it was pure magic. And at that point is when I think, even till then, I was still holding on to my tears. At that point, I completely broke down, because throughout the day, I was like, all the thoughts that were running through my mind that I'm torturing myself, why am I doing all of that, felt so petty, so silly. Like there is a higher power willing to give you the entire treasure, and what
Yeah,
you heard about, right? So,
yeah,
and right then all the words flashed back. Mohanji saying, yeah, yeah, come. Devi Ma saying, Shiva will hold you. That was
mm,
so true. And without any medication, without any bandage, no doctor, nothing, Shiva just healed it. It was gone.
wow. Oof.
The pain,
These goals are is what drives us
yeah,
to keep going to these kind of places because we're not expecting these miracles, but they take our breath away because
exactly,
it's so unexpectedly.
exactly. There's no expectation, exactly, right? And it was so tangible.
Yeah.
So tangible, right? So there was no other proof required. It was right in front of my eyes. Not that I ever doubted any divine this thing, but then, like you said, there was no expectation that if I go here, it'll get healed. For me, it
Yeah.
was just that completion and that I don't become a burden on my husband. I shouldn't slow him down and he shouldn't have to retreat because of me. All of that. That's all there was to it. And after that, there was spring in my step. My heart was so full of joy. All the tiredness was gone. And I happily sprinted back down.
And it's a long journey down, and you sprinted
It
is
is. It
miracle to
is.
hear.
Yeah. And then yes, day three is of course beautiful, that's it. So when you complete that, and so you're already happy, it's okay. The difficult days are done and this, but then still I was very, very careful that the ego doesn't take over. For all, I don't want to encounter something on the third day, which is supposed to be a breeze. It was beautiful. And when you
Mhm.
actually complete the parikrama and it's all over, there's this one spot where everybody's prostrating, right? You can actually see Kailash. And
Mm.
I had nothing but gratitude. It's like you've given me much more than I would have ever asked for. And this is for my entire lineage. Everybody that I'm connected to, everybody that's connected to me, this is for everybody. And there was no other thought in my heart, genuinely. I was so happy, so grateful. I could have poured all that love on Mohanji. Had I met Mohanji, I would have hugged him for hours together. Really. It was so amazing. I thanked Devyam. I thanked everybody who made it possible. Kimchi, I gave Kimchi a hug. I told him, you have no idea what this was for me. Yeah, so it was,
Um,
and for the longest time, I didn't write about it because it was too personal and too special. It's thanks to Rajesh Kamath that I wrote the blog. I never would have. And
And
today
now
it's
you're
thanks
here
to
talking
you that
about
I'm
it.
sharing this. Yeah, I never would have. It's thanks to you. I'm sharing this. I never would have. But yeah, I did remember that it's thanks to the Inner Kora book and thanks to Hanumatananda and Chai that I took up the yatra. So I'm not saying somebody listens to this and they take it up, but then definitely it's
No, it
gratitude
is.
to the tradition. Yeah. If it's meant to
It must
be,
be shared. It must be
well,
shared because your story and like Hanumatananda, like Jai, like Rajesh, like mine, anybody's story, it inspires you to take these difficult journeys that a human mind wants to repel from. It doesn't want to move because it seems so daunting at first. Oh, the physical aspect, the hypoxic aspect, the sickness aspect, all the things you hear from others. But these stories like yours give courage to people. That's why I told you to come and speak. I think this is what you shared is amazing. It's I think what you shared is beyond mind can comprehend because the surrender aspect is very strong. You didn't take the ownership, okay, I have to do this. Okay, whatever happens, I'm going to let it happen. That is the attitude we need to go to Kailash because I myself have experienced difficulties and I didn't have this attitude and I had to learn the difficult ways. But you already had that. See, this is all grace of Shiva, that Devi.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. So looking back, when you came back from Kailash, I know people go through their own transformations. Some seek silence, some go into silence, some experience changes. What was your experience after returning from this yatra? I mean, it's been 6 years now.
Yeah. So I remember Mohanji advising, one is silence, yes, try and be in that zone. And for me, it comes naturally because I'm an introvert. So I seek that, whenever there's a huge group of people, I anyway, move away from that. So that was something which was more than happy to, not have those conversations and be in that zone. But you also said set an intention because Kailash is transformational, right? So
Hmm.
at the point in time, I was still in the corporate life. So I'm a
Hmm.
healer, I'm a light worker. And I've always known that's my path, but I've never had the courage to let go of a secure job and do something of my own. So at
Hmm.
Kailash, I set that intention that I did not pray that let me quit, let me start doing. It was just that whatever is my soul path, if I'm meant to follow it, kindly set me straight on my path. That was
Hmm.
the only prayer. And all the kriyas that we did at Mansarovar were effortless.
Hmm.
We know, right? When we sit and do Kriya, mind is racing, the body is fidgety, all of that's happening. At Mansa, I remember you didn't even have to close your eyes. Just with open eyes, you could just see Kailash, glance at Kailash, and Kriya was automatically happening.
Happening.
So my prayer to Shiva was, may I be able to carry this with me? May this always stay in my heart, no matter what. Let me hold on to this. I don't want to forget this ever, no matter what. And I want to stay true to the tradition in whatever small ways I can, but keep me on the path. Let me not digress. I remember reading a testimonial from Meena, which I remember, I always say that in my head, I don't want to get off the bus. I don't want to get off the bus. If you get off the bus, it's very difficult to get on. So that's my only
Hmm.
prayer to Mohanji and to Shiva that day. I remember, may I stay on the path. And 2020, December, I quit my job. And it happened so organically. So organically. And next year, COVID hit, and so many things happened. And that's when I was so all the more grateful to Mohanji that, this could happen in 2019, right? Because so many
That's
rules changed after that.
yeah. I think the tradition knew this thing was happening and they cleared the way for many souls like yourself to give up that job, embrace a new you through the healing modalities that you're serving all of us, serving humanity and yourself, and you fulfilling your soul purpose. I think that's the most important thing you
Yes.
got from Kailash, from what I think. And
Yes.
following that soul's path is what takes us to that ultimate silence. So I think you received a lot from Kailash. And I didn't know that you had given up your corporate job after Kailash. This is something new that I learned right now. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. In fact, at the Boston pyramids, that was one thing I prayed in the tunnels, let me show me the way to be on the path. And
Mhm.
Kailash, I think, just sealed it beautifully. And to
Uh,
this day, even now, whenever that's required, the energy just comes back. I remember Lankesh ji with a lot of fondness and all the stories. And Shiva, I think all of us connect to Shiva in very different ways. For me, that's Mohanji. It starts with Mohanji, ends with Mohanji. I may or may not be vocal about it, but in my heart, I know that's that. That's what I
yeah,
know. If we spoke about it.
transformation is what's needed, not the vocal words, I think. Your strength and your commitment, your presence is what speaks of his presence within you. That's what I feel. That's what pulls me to you as a, I always reach out to you sometimes and we always connect deeply. And I think it's that presence that keeps us together. And no words are needed for that.
Yeah, no, I am also very grateful to Anant and Rakshita for this. Had it not been
Yeah.
for them, I would
Yeah.
never have met Mohanji. So heartfelt gratitude to both of them and to everybody who makes this work. And thank you so much for this. Like you've been absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much.
Last question, any advice you would give to anyone taking this journey with Mohanji? Even now, he doesn't go physically, but any advice to any pilgrim taking this with or without his presence?
It's just that mantra chanting. Om Namah Shivaya. That's all you need. That's all anybody needs and nothing else. Anytime it's natural for us to have fear, right? It's natural to have doubts. We're all human beings. So whenever doubt comes in, just replace it with Om Namah Shivaya and He'll he'll just take care of it. Right. So,
Wow.
and also one thing I've realized is we tend to read everybody's experiences, hear stuff, and we set that expectation within that this is what even I want to have. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe you could have something very, very different than that, or you may not have anything at all. But know for a fact, Kailash transforms you. You may not feel it then, you will feel it 1 year, 2 year, 10 years down the line. But it is tangible, it is certain, and your guru is there with you. Hold on to your guru, hold on to Om Namah Shivaya. You do not need any other preparation. That's the only advice I would like to share. That's all.
Wow. I think beautiful, Meenakshi. I'm so grateful that I this happened and I am lost of words that you completed this whole interview with what you just shared right now. I think that's what Mohanji says. But I'm lost of words. I feel so giddy. Like I was not in a good mood before we started, but I feel so giddy from this whole uh, uh, experience of just speaking to you and the Kailash frequency coming in. I have no words except gratitude in my heart right now for what you've shared. So
Likewise. Thank you so much
yeah,
for pushing
thank
me to
you.
do this. Thank you so much.
Thank you to everyone for joining, and thank you, Meenakshi, and thank you, Mohanji. Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you.